fashion friends and family, this is Stacy here from Sobromo and Elsa Fitzgerald. I am here at Sobromo. I am dressed up. I am not going anywhere. I am just wearing one of my Elsa dresses that I need to finish sewing just to remind myself to get back into my practice. And these little roses are from my garden. So I wanted to give you some updates. We have classes tomorrow. I will not be there during that session. Nicole's so kind as to run those classes, but I will just be prepping for those classes tonight, printing manuals, setting up tables and machines. I have exciting news. I would say it's lightly exciting news because it's not finalized, but we are, as you know, part of the Crab Tank. Voting is happening now, so I will send the link to share with you guys to vote for us. We have the chance of winning up to $25,000, but I think what's really exciting about that initiative is it's really about empowering Baltimore and creating impact and change, and being a leader within that space is really an honor to even be considered. Now, the second part that's interesting is that we are being considered for a TEDCO grant, and that really is focused on creating a fashion innovation hub. We want to create space for the entrepreneurs to be able to grow their work, and not necessarily done through Sobromo in their own sort of access to a factory environment space, and or maybe sewing classes that they can run themselves. Included in that proposal, we actually created an accelerator program called a Needle Trade All-Stars program, and that's really to help that individual entrepreneur to grow and scale, not necessarily scale for like large volume, but to intentionally grow so that they can be financially viable. The other thing, which is exciting, I'll show you a little video of me back at my place, going through the Fashion Heritage and Needle Trades Farm and Mansion proposal. This is the part that most of you don't see, is all the kind of behind the scenes activity that I do with proposals and concepts that are sent through, and you never know where they sort of go within the work. This is a proposal for the Fashion Heritage Needle Trades Farm and Mansion. Forgive my crooked hanging job here, but I have this behind my desk in my home office because it reminds me of this element of slowing down, and for fashion not have to be about the rush of things, but just the connection to the hands and heart and making. So it keeps me aligned, or I hope it keeps me aligned to that important value that we have as a maker. Here we have the cover of my third book that I was meant to finish. Actually, the cover part is pretty much finished. I just have to scan it and move it to the digital space, but it's called London Fashion Dream. The other one was called Bali Fashion Dream, Baltimore Fashion Dream, and this really, actually, I should tell you, the inspiration really comes from this idea of believing in your dreams, not really knowing where you're going within the work, but trusting the path that as you walk forward, that a way will be made. Not because it won't be easy, no, not that there's a solution, but you create your own path within each step you take. So I'm gonna pan over here so you can see my neighbor George. He's working on some production. Hi. All right, manuals are ready. We've got our intermediate sewing, our pattern literacy, and this is the fabric that Nicole will cut into that dress, a temporary solution. Something to note about our classes, we always run I think it's about 4 to 5 maximum, so we keep smaller classes, but since we have been reactivating the work and we actually run classes more frequently and in a more intensive format, some people kind of luck out because if we didn't book as many people for that particular weekend, you might have a private session, and we've made a rule where we're still going to run the class because we want to make sure that people are able to cycle through and we're able to build more of a community. So our lucky friend, Christy, who is joining tomorrow for the intermediate sewing and the pattern literacy class, will be getting this one-on-one support from Nicole here at Sobromo. All right, I am going to head upstairs before I head out for the evening. I want to show you a space upstairs. I'm working on this TEDCO grant, and I'll tell you more about that. Look at my little roses. They match the little pin cushions. And we have our own custom manuals that are created specific to each of the courses that the students get to keep. They're all developed here. So it allows for them to reference back after the program. So in an earlier video, you saw Mr. Hart and I touring the second floor of the Comco building. We are on the 6th floor because we were looking at various floors within the space to see where we can activate a fashion innovation hub. And I want to actually clarify what I mean by fashion innovation hub. I actually don't mean robotics and advancements, and that's could be part of it, but the main thing is to allow fashion entrepreneurs to be able to launch early stage ventures, have a place for them to make, create, prototype, and develop, and go to market and do small batch runs so that they can be more agile in that early stage launch. That said, I also realize that there's a need within the Baltimore community whereby they need spaces to teach classes, to have access to equipment, but they don't need it for a long-term lease agreement. They need it more so as a co-working exchange process, meaning like one fashion designer might want to teach a class and then they cycle through and then there's another one, so they would just rent that space. So I'm going to take you through, it's going to be dark in there, but I think it's worth showing you right next to Harper Design, which is a really amazing product development company that does a lot of different innovations. Right next door to them was an innovation center that was meant to be for a lot of different entrepreneurs. That sense has been, those entrepreneurs have grown into larger spaces, no longer this Comco building. But that said, could that be the home for the Fashion Innovation Hub? So TEDCO is the one right there that's actually facilitating the review of the applications. Hooray, there's a light switch. I haven't been up here in a little while since visiting a friend who had a space up here. But I just was looking at the kind of the capacity of the floor. Right, so this one is a lot more in better condition than the space on the second floor. But what's exciting about the second floor is the potential for that to be fashion entrepreneur in the needle trades spaces, artist studios that are expanding. But this could be the lab where a lot of that development's happening, and it becomes within that grant, it's required that it has to be a common public space so that people can rent and have access, so it's not protected behind these walls, which I think is fantastic, but we just have to navigate that, whereas having a program manager to be able to keep an eye out, to be able to onboard people. Another nice thing about this spot is that you have a freight elevator. Unfortunately, it's the smaller one, but it would do. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Sobromo and on Instagram. See you next time.